What's up guys, it's ALLDAYANTHONY. Welcome back to a Honda vlog that you hopefully know and hopefully love, because in today's video, I proudly introduce you to my newest YouTube project car. Let's go. Alright guys, and here she is, my new to me 2005 Acura RSX Type-S. This is a car I've wanted ever since high school, and it feels pretty surreal to be standing in front of one today. Now I hope you guys enjoyed the intro, as Jimmy, Dane, and myself put a ton of effort into that, and I hope it's as cool as I think it is once it's edited. Now, like any car I purchase, there always seems to be a story that comes with that, but I'm going to be covering that in a future video because it was exciting, kind of traumatic, but I'll be talking about the price, how much I paid, the person I bought it from, etc. But for today, I just want to cover the car in front of me. So this is a 2005 Acura RSX Type-S with a mint 189,000 miles and a clean title. Now I know some of you guys might be hearing that and saying, Anthony, that's kind of some high mileage. But if you knew the person I bought it from, or the type of person I bought it from, then you'll know that this car really is just getting broken in, and hopefully I'll be driving this car as hard as it's ever been driven. But to be completely honest, I've actually owned the RSX now for a little over a month. Technically, I bought this car before I even sold the Honda CRZ, which was kind of a risk, but a risk that all worked out. The CRZ went to a great home with a great new owner, so I'm really happy that that chapter is kind of concluded, so we can jump into this car and go whole hog. So in terms of my plans for the car, as many of you guys know, I'm a big fan of OEM Plus builds, and I think that this car is perfect for something OEM Plus because it already has the looks, right? It's basic, but it's something that you can build on and add extras to really make it your own and make it much better looking, and hopefully like something that should have came out from the factory. So plans wise, there's gonna be a lot for the exterior, there's gonna be some for the interior, there's gonna be stuff for the engine bay. This is gonna be something that we can really do kind of a full makeover on to make my own and get it up to that ALLDAYANTHONY spec. Now, as far as the exterior and jumping into that, the first thing I wanna note is that this is Nighthawk Black Pearl. Now, this wasn't my top of the list color that I would have chosen for an Acura RSX Type-S. Technically, I really wanted that white pearl color, but the trade-off is that I got the ebony black interior. And I've mentioned that before in a previous video where I said I want an RSX, but I don't want the beige titanium interior. And that's no offense to people that have it, it's just that I love the black interior on these cars. But the trade-off is that it only came in so many colors with the black interior, which includes the Nighthawk Black Pearl. Now, me being a detailing enthusiast and somebody that loves detailing, this black might be the death of me, but I'm gonna do my best to maintain it in the meantime. Now, down the road, I may want to wrap this car, and who knows, because black is technically one of the easiest colors to wrap. I feel like a really cool pearl white would look good on this car, but who knows. Now, in terms of how the car looks currently, I would say that this thing is honestly, it's like a 7 out of 10. It's really not that bad. It's in pretty good shape for what it is, especially for the price I paid and especially for the mileage. With 189,000 miles on it, I don't know how often you'll see something that's still in this good a shape. Now, in terms of the exterior, if you guys look close, you'll see that this car is virtually dent free. And that's because over the last month I've chipped out a couple small things on this car just to kind of get it up to my taste. So I've already had the PDR work done by Eric at Car Medic. He came out and knocked out the few dents the car had. It really wasn't that bad, but I did film the whole process just so you guys can see it in a future video on dents being removed in a little bit more detail. Now, in terms of the paint quality in general, it's not bad. It's pretty good. A lot of this stuff I can bring back to life through paint correction, but I'm in no rush to do that anytime soon, mainly for the fact that it's a black car with soft clear coat and it's probably going to get scratched up again, but I'm not going to wait anywhere near as long as I did for the CRZ. I'm going to make sure that this gets corrected sooner than later. But there are some things on the car that will have to be resprayed for sure. So for example here, the hood under this light doesn't look that bad. But up close, this hood has a ton of rock chips. I mean, a ton. This was a commuter car and it looks like a commuter car from the front. I did a little bit of touch up just to make it look a little bit better, but honestly, it needs the hood resprayed completely. It has a little bit of clear coat failure right there if you can kind of see it, and then the front bumper itself is just road blasted. It's got a ton of road rash on it. The lip here down at the bottom, it's got a nice scuff on it. Now in terms of anywhere else on the car, the roof here unfortunately has the start of a little bit of clear coat failure right here, which are really, if it can focus, not much I can do about. So the roof might have to get resprayed as well. The deck lid here on the back has the infamous clear coat failure, which doesn't really bother me as this is going to be getting replaced. But in the meantime, I might rattle can it, or I might wrap it or do something like that just to bring back a little bit of life, because yeah, it does kind of take away from the look, especially when it is so rough. But we'll be figuring that out in the future. But overall though, the rest of the car, the rest of the paint can be brought back to life. Now, I mentioned before that this car does have a clean title, which is amazing, and it is 90% VINs matching. The only thing that doesn't match is the rear bumper here, and that's because it was in a very small scratch and dent accident, and they just replaced the whole bumper. Now, the only downside of that is that when they painted it, they did a good job, but they painted that middle piece there. Why the heck would you paint that? It's not supposed to be painted. It's supposed to be that flat black color, but oh well, it doesn't look horrible, it doesn't look that bad, I'll make do with it. Now, some of you Honda heads will notice that the car does have a few OEM accessories on here, including the OEM front and rear mudguards, and then on top of that, it's got the OEM JDM Honda Integra Type R badges. Now, I think the previous owner, I think she said she put these on there, or they were already on the car. I can't remember 100%, but this one's pretty chipped up if you look up close, and so I've already ordered a replacement for that because I gotta have it perfect. And at first, I wasn't sure if I was gonna love the badges, but to be honest, they work with the black, and I think I'm gonna keep them, especially the Type-S badge on the rear. And so we're gonna be rocking the OEM Honda Integra Type R badges. Yes, this is a Type-S. No, I'm not trying to fake it. I just think it genuinely looks a lot better. Now, the next thing I want to cover here was the unfortunate event with the original OEM Type-S 5-spoke wheels. So the previous owner did have the 05 to 06 Type-S wheels. However, she ended up curbing one of them or damaging one of them, took the car down to Les Schwab, and they said it would just be cheaper for her to replace all 4 with new wheels. So she agreed, replaced them with these cheap 6-spoke Raceline wheels, and they ended up keeping her old wheels, which sucks because those would have been really nice to have. I would have fixed them, or I would have done something with them, because I'm not a fan of these. They're not the worst things in the world, but they're definitely by no means good. So down the road, I definitely want to find a set of the OEM 5-spokes if I can, and maybe have those as a beater set. These ones right here, you can see on the rear, already has a chunk missing out of it, which isn't a big deal. It still holds air. It still took the abuse up in the mountains, but down the road, I definitely just want to swap to a new set of wheels and even pick up an extra set of the Type-S 5-spokes. Alright, so in terms of exterior plans for the Type-S, this is where I'm kind of on the edge here with a lot of different mods, because I think that this car already looks so good. It doesn't need a whole lot, but there's an overwhelming amount of things that you can do. Everything from front lips to side skirts to rear lips, spoiler options, all sorts of different things. But I want to do something that's going to look clean, tasteful, and fit my taste and fit my personality. And so in terms of front lips, I'm still really not sure what I want to do yet. Mainly for the fact that, you know, a lot of people run the Mugen lip, a lot of people run the A-spec lip as well, and I'm just not sure, because I think the original front bumper looks good. I just want something that can slightly emphasize it a little bit more. So we'll see what comes from that. Now, the headlights here, do need to get replaced. This is something that I'm gonna for sure do. What I'm gonna replace them with, I'm not sure yet. These are the original OEM ones. However, these ones cannot be brought back to life, even with all my magic and all my tricks, mainly for the fact that you can see right here, if the camera can focus, there is some really bad cracking that's actually happening in the polycarbonate shell. It's beyond the clear coat, it's in the actual shell, and it just won't go back to normal. So yeah, new headlights, whether they're depot replacements, I don't really want to go that route, but if I have to, I will. It would be really nice to find a set of OEM lights that I can restore completely that aren't as bad as these, but we'll just kind of see. So in terms of the front end, possibly a front lip, we'll kind of, you know, gauge that and go from there. The side skirts here are kind of difficult because I think that these side skirts actually look pretty good. I've seen a couple of the A-spec side skirts go up for sale and those look good as well, but they're too meaty to kind of match the rest of the car, meaning that if you have the side skirts, you definitely need a front lip or you need a rear lip. So I'm kind of unsure there, but the original side skirts really don't look that bad. Now the rear here is where things are really gonna start popping because I'm going to take off the deck lid and replace this with the Type A rear deck lid and then add the OEM JDM Type R rear spoiler. And by I'm going to, I mean, I may have already bought it, possibly from Osaka, Japan, and it could be on its way to us like right now, so that might be coming sooner than later, but it is championship white, so I will have to get it paint matched. But I can't not have a spoiler. You guys know I'll put a spoiler on pretty much anything, even a Honda CRZ hybrid, so the Type S definitely needs a spoiler. But it'll be the OEM JDM Type R spoiler, which I think will look really good because there's a lot of eBay options out there. Some of them are kind of janky, but I will tell you this much, I don't really want any fiberglass parts on this car. If I can avoid it completely, I want to. I'm not a huge fan of fiberglass. I'd rather have it be ABS plastic or polyurethane. It's just fiberglass, the fitment issues and all of that, I'm just not a big fan. So replace that, high spoiler there, and we'll probably be adding something special on top of the high spoiler, which I think you guys, if you follow me, you probably already know what I'm wanting to do. Now the rear here, obviously, that's gonna have a brand new exhaust. But in terms of the rear lip here, I really don't know what I wanna do because I think it already looks pretty good. There's some really good rear lip options. I just, yeah, I'm kind of uncertain at this point. What does the porta potty think? All right, well, I might leave it stock. All right, so with the car exploded, it's time to jump into the interior. And when you guys see this, you'll understand when I say that this was one of the biggest selling points. So the ebony black interior is in fantastic condition. I mean, the seats themselves, no rips, just worn. Everything from the dash to the steering wheel is still in good shape. The door panels here, all of the switches. I mean, this car really was well taken care of, especially on the interior. I mean, look at the headliner. Looks absolutely awesome. So when I saw the pictures and I saw it in person and I saw the person I was buying it from, I was like, okay, so this wasn't really like used and abused. This was really well taken care of. And so the seats were the biggest tale here because on all of the RSX seats, especially the Type S, you have the tear there in the middle with a really unsightly cushion and it never really looks good. So finding that these weren't torn yet was amazing. So obviously the first thing I did when I got this car was condition them because I don't want them to tear. I want to keep them looking good until maybe I eventually swap out the seats with something different. Now the steering wheel is still in really good shape. It is a little worn up here on the top, but chances are I probably will be replacing this with either a Type R steering wheel or potentially wrapping this in Alcantara and making it look really nice. Now the floor mats here, the RSX Type-S floor mats, these didn't look as black as they did when I got the car. So I've already dyed these black because it bothered me so much. But if you guys can keep a secret, the other night I had like a couple beers, right? And I got online and started shopping around and I may or may not have bought a brand new set of the OEM Type-S floor mats, which I don't want to talk about how much they cost. It's our little secret and we're just gonna move on. So other than that, jumping in the car, getting in here, it still has the original head unit. Now the funniest part about this is that I've been listening to CDs in this thing. Yes, CDs. And I've been listening to Linkin Park and Jay-Z Collision Course, which is totally 2006. And it's been awesome. And so I've had that on repeat for the last month. And I cannot wait to swap this out with a double din and have access to my phone again for some good music. But overall, the sound system, not great, considering this does have the OEM sub in the rear, but taking a look here, all this is in still such good condition. I mean, it looks fantastic. This is definitely a score. Glove box is great condition as well. She did include the OEM Acura emblems for the exterior if I want to swap those onto them, and some extra light bulbs and stuff. But yeah, this is in great shape. And jumping into the rear here, rear seats are in awesome condition. Just a little worn, but no tears, no rips, no nothing. Those look great. Rear mat's in good shape as well. I mean, I really don't think people sat back here for the most part. Maybe a couple times in its lifetime, but for the most part, I think that this was just a one-person daily driver. Now, one incredible thing I didn't realize until I owned the car was how big the hatch space is here on the RSX. This one still has the original cover here, which is awesome, but the rear here, I mean, you can put a ton of stuff in here, guys. I mean, much more than you could with the Civic. I mean, this is pretty much on the same level as the CRZ. I mean, in terms of space in here, and actually I would say that this probably has a little bit more room than the CRZ. Now, in the trunk here, carpet is in amazing condition. And then lifting this up here, the original, oh, dang it, OEM Bose sound system, which honestly, you don't even know that that's there. I mean, there's no real major sub hits or anything like that that would make you feel like it's there. But tools down there, spare tire, but this thing inside here is absolutely spotless. All right, so I think we've waited long enough. It's time to check out the heart of the beast. You know, I thought ALLDAYANTHONY always had a nice ring to it. I think I can finally say that now because this is my K20Z1 motor paired with the Type-S 6-speed non-LSD transmission. This motor, on paper, technically puts out 210 horsepower and revs out to, what is it, 81, 8200 RPM? I'll have to check the cluster. I think it's like 81. And this thing's an absolute riot. I've owned this car for a month. I have hit VTEC on this thing, or cracked VTEC, I should say, countless times. The car sounds fantastic. I mean, there's no weird clinks or crunches or clinks or tings or anything like that. It sounds extremely, extremely healthy. It doesn't leak or burn a drop of oil, which is absolutely incredible. I've already done an oil change on it. Check the oil. It looked amazing. Now, a couple things I've already done, and some things that you guys will probably notice is, where's the stock airbox, Anthony? Well, the previous owner put in the engine intake. Now, the stock airbox is probably long gone. She didn't give that to me, but it's got the engine intake, hence why it has such an amazing crossover. But things I've done is that when I got the car, I kind of had a feeling that with the aftermarket intake on there, that filter probably hasn't been cleaned in quite some time, especially being a true cold air intake that goes to the front of the bumper down there. So one of the weekends, I pulled off the front bumper, and I was a little horrified with what I saw, to be honest. I pulled off what could have been the dirtiest filter I have ever seen in my life. And I had already ordered a brand new engine filter for it, knowing that I probably was going to have to replace it. So instead of cleaning it, I tossed that, but the car runs significantly better since I've done that. And since I've put some Techron complete fuel system cleaner in here and did an oil change, the car feels extremely, extremely healthy. So taking a look into here, I mean, everything's pretty clean for the most part. I did a very light spray down just to get some dust off, but I have by no means done a complete engine bay detail. So I do want to do that here eventually, but this car right here is going to be getting a lot of dress up mods. In terms of power mods themselves, this is where I want to do a lot of the basic bolt-ons. I'm going to do headers, I'm going to do exhaust. It's already got the intake, but I might swap out the intake. I'm considering the RBC intake manifold. I'm considering a different throttle body, strut bar. I'm probably going to be doing the clutch master cylinder, as I think that this car really technically needs it, as I'm getting that infamous clutch master cylinder squeak and kind of crunching feel that I hate. And then I think I'm also going to throw a new clutch in here, because I don't think it's the original clutch. It still pulls and holds strong, but I want this car to feel as new as possible. So I want to make sure that with all the bolt-ons and everything else I'm going to be doing, that the car feels as good as it can possibly feel. One thing that I've already purchased that you may have already seen on Instagram is the new Type R valve cover. And so I ordered the JDM Type R K20 valve cover, and it's going to make this look absolutely awesome. I don't know what I'm going to do for my spark plug cover yet, but I'll be doing a different fuel rail, and I don't know. I mean, guys, long story short, this car right here, I'm going to be building this car like I'm going to keep it. because I might end up keeping it. Unlike the other cars where I sold them, this is something where I'm gonna put all the time and all the money and all the effort into to keep this thing long term, you know, if the cards allow that to happen. You know, I wanna give it new life. I wanna make sure that this thing's running great, and these engines are known for lasting a very long time. There's some RSX Type-S's out there that have like literally upwards of 400,000 miles on them and they're still beating on. And so I think that this car still has a ton of life left, especially in my hands. Now, of course, I'm going to be swapping out the wheels with something more aggressive than what's on here, and I may or may not already have the wheels, may or may not, but the tires are going to be more aggressive as well. And then in terms of the brakes, I will be upgrading those to some slotted rotors and swapping out the pads to probably some StopTech pads. But down the road, I'd really like to find some TL Type-S Brembos, as I think that those are going to look really cool and perform really cool. So if you guys ever find a set in your junkyard journeys, hit your boy up and let me know. Now, before we go for a quick drive, a couple other things. Suspension. I completely forgot to talk about suspension. Yes, suspension is going to be done on this car, and just like the red Civic, I am going to be focusing a lot on suspension to try to dial in a very good setup that's going to be extremely functional and still look really, really good. Function is a little bit more important with me on this car than the way it's going to look, because I want this thing to handle well, especially when I'm up in the canyons. When I was up in the mountains just the other day, I could tell that there was so much that I can improve on in terms of the suspension and the geometry of the car. And so strut bars, absolutely, those are going to be upgraded. Rear subframe, lower control arms, possibly the front lower control arms. There's going to be just a lot that I want to change out on here to make this handle amazing and make the most of the power, because this is technically the most power I've had in a Honda, and I want to make sure that this thing could lay it down but also have a ton of fun in the corners with the power that it has. So of course the car is going to be lowered on coilovers. I just want people to know here that on this car, I'm not necessarily afraid to spend money, as I've already kind of been spending money, but I want to spend money in the right areas that make the most sense to make this a better Acura RSX Type-S, and that's the main goal. I want to make this a better car, I want to make this a more fun car, and of course a cleaner car. So with all that said, this has been a lot of talking, a lot of walking around in circles. Let's jump in and go for a quick drive while we have some sunlight left. All right, so the GoPro on, start this beast up here. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Flick on those lights there, and yeah, man, for the most part, sounds stock. Really, the only thing that doesn't sound stock is the intake, but you don't really hear that until you get on it. But interior here, I absolutely love this. The illuminated red lights and all of this. It's got the vibes. It doesn't have CRZ vibes, but it still has some good vibes, and I really like it. So current mileage here on the car is 189,000 miles with 189,628. So I got it at exactly 189. I put about 600 miles on the car, and that's just because I've been loving driving it. AC works, everything works on the car. Sunroof works, cruise control, mirrors. There's nothing that doesn't work. That's amazing, right? For this mileage and everything else, again, I think it was just really well taken care of. So let's get out of here. All right, guys, so as much as I wish this was a first impression drive, I'm already very familiar with the Type-S and how it drives and how it handles and how the power feels. I mainly want to take you for a quick rip so you can listen to that delicious VTEC crossover, as it sounds absolutely wild with the K20Z1. But overall, within the last month though, I've really been enjoying driving this car. It does feel amazing. My biggest gripe with it, and my biggest gripe, I mean this, is the damn clutch pedal. The clutch master cylinder crunchy, squeaky feel is really bothersome. The gas pedal squeaks as well when I kind of lightly tap it. And yeah, I believe the replacement really is just replacing the entire clutch master cylinder with like an EM2 clutch master cylinder, for example. And I believe that Hybrid Racing has like a full kit for that with a stainless braided line that I would love to upgrade to. But other than that though, major gripes, I don't know. I think it's really just the clutch pedal, man. And the clutch still feels strong. I still want to replace it and upgrade it, but I have a feeling that it's got this kind of heaviness to it that I didn't think it would have, which I think probably is just meaning that it's getting old, right? Throw-out bearing's probably getting old, everything else is getting old. So replacing that with maybe a stage 1 organic clutch from Exetti, or doing, I don't know if I want to do a lightweight flywheel necessarily, because I don't know, I hear positives and downsides of lightweight flywheels, so I'm not sure if that's something I want to do yet, so we'll kind of figure that out. Slow down in a second a little bit, just for a quick little hit here. Are we good? Yep. Oh my God, that roars, dude. Oh, man, second to third gear in this car, it's a blast, dude. There's no grinds, there's no nothing shifting between gears. It feels like butter. It sounds extremely healthy. And as far as the valves, they don't sound super loud or super chattery, especially once the car is warmed up, but I do want to get them checked and adjusted just so I can continue ripping on the car just like I've been, because it's kind of addicting. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Ripping through gears and VTEC in this thing on a beautiful summer night, there's just nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. Well, there are things like it, but I mean, it's nothing like it when you got a brand new car. I think we can all agree on that. All right, so I do want to take you around this back road here. We're gonna do a third gear pull here into fourth. This area back here around this time of night gets kind of sketchy because of the deer and whatnot, and I'm not trying to wreck my brand new RSX, so we'll probably hit this quick little bit here, then flip back around. So here we go, third gear, 4,000 RPM, floor it, wait for it. Oh yeah! Take me to that promised land, baby! Get that VTEC again! Oh my God, that fourth gear though! Shit! God, this thing feels good. 189,000 miles, man. Pulling like a train. Well, like a, you know, like a Honda train, but it's pulling like a train. Holy smokes. I think that was the most ripped out fourth gear. So I gotta come clean on something. So when I posted the teaser on Instagram saying that I got a new project car, I kind of purposely photoshopped the photo to where it would look like an FG2 8th Gen Civic SI Coupe. And I know there were some people that were actually really excited about that, and I want to apologize to you personally, saying that I'm sorry for teasing that, and I'm sorry that it ended up being an RSX Type-S, because I know that you were probably really excited. And yeah, I just got to get that off my chest. I did it for fun, and I wanted to see what people's reaction would be. And needless to say, I hope you guys are excited about the Type-S, as excited as I am. But I know that there was like a good handful of people who were like, Anthony, an FG2, yes, finally. And I'm kind of like in the back of my head like, oh God, do I tell them? Do I say anything? Do I not say anything? So yeah, just wanted to apologize and just let you know that. All right, guys, so we pretty much lost all daylight, which I think is a good stopping point for today's video. I hope I covered everything. I know I was doing a lot of talking. I'm really, really excited about this car. So there's probably some things I missed or some things I overlooked, but trust me, there's gonna be so much more content on this car that I'm gonna bring you along for everything I can, and I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. So I'm really lucky that I found this. I'm really grateful that I found this, especially living in Idaho. Again, it's kind of like living on an island around here and finding something that's as clean as this, that's unmolested. It's kind of already a miracle in itself, but finding one here in Idaho is even more of a miracle, and I'm really excited I picked it up. And so a lot to come for this car. Let me know what you think. If there's certain mods that I should do, or if you own a DC5 and you want to see some things, you know, drop them down in the comments. I'll definitely check into them and look them over. But I think that this is going to be such a better car by the time I'm done with it. And I'm hoping that, you know, can continue to keep this thing long term, and it'll be around here long term on the channel. I'm in no rush to get rid of it. I want to enjoy it, have fun with it, fall in love with it even more than I already have. I do miss the CRZ, but I felt like this was just the best damn replacement that I could get within the Honda realm, and it's going to be awesome. So anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys love the RSX, and as always, if you want to see more All K Anthony and more of the RSX content, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below for more, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. It's All Day Anthony. Peace.